Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I'm your host Mike, and with me today on the panel we have Rory and Mark. We are going to be discussing the non-event away draw at Harrogate. Doesn't do anyone any favours at all, and we'll look forward to the very last home match of the season against Crawley, where we have to get something. Don't forget, guys, obviously the engagement is important. We like the likes, shares, comments. They really do help, especially after the match comments. I've just started really testing a new thing, so that might come in next season, just to have people's voice notes on if anyone does it. But yeah, follow on at Sutton Podcast on all the social medias and give us a shout out. And again, a big thanks to everyone who does it on a regular basis or even ad hoc, but thank you very much. Mark, it's about 3 weeks ago we spoke to you.
It wasn't long ago.
No. How have you been since?
Yeah, I found a really rare bird at Beddington Farmlands on Friday.
All right.
A woodchat shrike, which is a Mediterranean bird.
Okay.
So I found it myself and put the word out, and the birding community of Surrey and London descended on that site. Lots of photographs of this bird knocking around. So my name is up in lights in the local ornithological community.
Marvellous. And we've moved this because you've got another dash off this evening, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah, I'm looking for a nightingale. Same place, actually, Beddington. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. And Rory, it's a bit longer for you since you've been on. It was way back in September. We've had a few full starts and technical issues and whatnot, but how have you been?
Yeah, all right. I'm not sure I can compete with Mark's bird watching. But yeah, not been up to much. I'm sorry about technical issues in the pub.
That's all right. You can be sorry. Yeah. My whole show is based around technical issues. So, and anyone watching that is the sun streaming in, not my camera this time. It's the sun. Right, club news. I didn't really look out for an awful lot. There is goal of season voting going on, which finishes on Friday. The early bird ticket prices are done, which took at least one person by surprise. And I believe there is going to be, I don't think it's going to be a biggie, but I think there's going to be some awards given out after the Crawley match for the various players. So I don't think it's going to be a big thing, but there'll be some awards going out. For myself, I'm going to be doing that player of the season little thing again. We did like the mini groups. Just have to work it out. I'll do it towards the end of the season, just in case anyone does anything to change people's minds in the next 2 games. And thinking about next season, just wanted to put a shout out to anyone. If there's anything you really do like, don't like, miss that I used to do and I don't do anymore, just let me know and I'll try and rework things. I've got one thing kind of coming back, but I've just got to tweak it a little bit more to make sure. But yeah, let me know so I can be ready for next season and get confused again for the new season. We're going to speed through a little bit. So what were Rory, for you first, what were your thoughts and expectations, hopes ahead of kickoff yesterday?
Yeah, I was quite positive actually, Mike. I was feeling Harrogate have been a bit up and down all season. They beat us at our place, but I thought we had a very good chance. I thought 4 wins out of 5, got a pretty good record at Harrogate. Seemed to win every time we're there. I think we lost or drew back in National League days, but we typically have a pretty good record there. I thought they've got not too much to play for, outside chance of the playoffs. But yeah, I was quite hopeful, actually, quite optimistic.
And Mark, what were your thoughts ahead of, or your hopes ahead of kickoff?
I wasn't saying, well, obviously I hope we win. I wouldn't say I was particularly confident, but my analysis was similar to Rory's. I thought that was a game we probably had to win. Harrogate are probably not going to make the playoffs, even if they won. I think they're very much outsiders for the playoffs. So I think their season's, more or less over. But they're set to finish, I think, at their highest ever position in. Obviously, there's a couple of games to go, but they look set to finish in the top half, which I don't think they've managed to do before. So it's been quite a successful season in relative terms for them. But yeah, I thought we got more to play for, so I thought that probably would favour us a bit. But I wouldn't say I was optimistic. Hopeful, yes, but not optimistic.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere, and I have no idea where. I think 17th has been their highest.
Yeah.
Since they've come up, after only the year before, so this is their year 4. So, yeah. I think the chance of them making the playoffs did rely on an awful lot of other things going wrong, and it was really very outside chance. But onto the lineup. The lineup was announced. I thought I had a little bit of sneaky inside info after being at the training ground this week, which was actually really, really good. If anyone gets a chance to do it, go along, have a look. Steve wasn't wrong. The lunch was very nice. But I got 9 out of 11. I had Eastie coming back, and then I thought, no, I'll drop him to the bench and put Clay back, because Clay played on Tuesday. So I thought, we'll put Clay back in, and I had left Ollie in because I thought that was working. But yeah, I did put Jacko back in. I did do everything else, but yeah, I got those two slightly wrong. But how did you get on, Mark? What was your thoughts at the lineup, and was it what you were expecting, or have you just quit this game altogether now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was quite what I expected. We knew that Ben Goodliff wasn't going to feature because Steve said he's out for the season, which is obviously a bit of a blow. But I feared that Charlie Lakin would be missing because he went off in last Saturday's game, didn't he, with what looked like a knee injury, and there were fears that he might be out for the season. So I was pleasantly surprised to see him in the starting 11. Although actually I don't think he had a particularly great game, but he has been playing very well for us, got quite a few goals. So it was obviously important to get him back if we could. So that was very pleasing. And also Ryan Jackson was back. He's obviously missed a few games, and there was a fear that he might still be out, but he came back, and I thought he had a good game. So I was pleased to see those two, as well as Eastie, back in the starting 11. But Harry Smith was playing certainly in the first half as a lone striker with Harry B just behind him. I think it's the sort of tip of a midfield diamond with Eastie at the base.
Right. I wasn't there, so I kind of thought that it would be Harry or Charlie pushing and one dropping and so on. I thought could be quite interesting. But Rory, what were your thoughts on the lineup, and how did you do? Or was it as you expected?
Yeah, similar actually. I thought Ollie would play. I was surprised he went with one up front. But yeah, I tend to agree with Mark. I think it worked really well having Harry Smith, Harry Beautyman. It seemed like a nice little combination, I think. So I was really pleased when I saw Charlie Lakin, Eastie and Harry in midfield. I thought that's quite a dynamic midfield trio. I think, not to jump ahead too much, but I think certainly that worked first half. I thought that worked really well. With Harry kind of just behind Harry. So the two Harrys worked quite effectively.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the first half. We're coming on to it. So Rory, we seemed slightly on top. We did have a few shots. They weren't. The keeper didn't have to work overly hard to cover them, but we were attacking. Did you feel as it was coming towards half time that we were kind of on top, that we should be ahead? I know Tony kind of said it on the comms that we should be ahead, or we felt we should be ahead. But is that how you saw the first half?
It was, yeah. I definitely think I thought we were the better team by far, I'd say, in the first half. We had more of the ball. I'm not sure, when I looked at the possession stats, it looked, I can't remember, 65% to Harrogate. I think that was second half. I think first half we controlled it quite well. I don't remember them having any shots, maybe a couple, but nothing major, I don't think, first half. So I felt quite comfortable first half, and then just obviously when Harry scored, that seemed like the icing on the cake. That seemed like we'd managed the game really well, controlled it well in midfield, I thought. Although I agree with Mark, I'm not sure it was Charlie Lakin's best game. It felt like we controlled things well. Didn't feel like the usual kind of under pressure left back kind of situation. That felt reasonably calm, I thought, first half. So yeah, I was really pleased first half, and I think everyone else was really buoyed by it. And it just went a bit wrong from there.
Talk us through the goal. We'll come to you, Mark, in a sec, but Rory mentioned the goal there. Talk us through the goal. It seemed, watching it back, that it was kind of out of nothing, and it was Josh's, I want to say tenacious, but I'm not sure I could say it properly. So yeah, talk us through it from your point. It came at a really good time.
It did, yeah, and we were right there. So we were in the stand right next to where Ryan Jackson and Josh were playing some nice kind of 1-2s that they played a lot in the first half, and that one seemed to come off a bit more. And as you say, Josh was quite persistent, all across. He couldn't quite see, and I didn't see until I saw the highlights. The nice little flick and touch from Harry, kind of nipped in front of the defender. A little kind of Cruyff-esque finish. Which was lovely actually, but yeah, I thought Josh, particularly first half, had a lot of luck down that right hand side. A few nice balls in, and same actually from the left hand side. Sam putting some nice balls in the box, and Nino as well. So it seemed like, probably in contrast to the second half, first half we got a lot of width and a lot of good attacking play by both wingers, and then a great finish by Harry. To say, it was a fabulous finish.
And you mentioned it's good to see him back, Mark, but Eastie in the replay after the goal was celebrating rather well in front of everyone. He seemed very pleased. But how did you see the first half, and talk us through the goal as well, but initially the half?
I'd forgotten how much of a slope there is on Harrogate's pitch, and we had the advantage of the slope in the first half, and I think probably the wind behind us as well, which may have given us a significant advantage. But as Rory said, we were certainly the better side. We had more of the play, more of the attack. One thing I did notice is that quite a few of our balls into the Harrogate area seemed to be aimed for Harry Smith's head, and he just wasn't really connecting with them. And the goal we actually ended up scoring was a completely different sort of approach, as Rory described. It was a kind of a bit of 1-2 play on a right wing, and then the cross came in, and Harry was just sort of almost like a sort of a back heel, a sort of cheeky flick, just got it past the defender, almost on the line. He was very very close to the line when he flicked it in. I think we just fully deserved that lead. I think you could argue that we should have been more than 1-0 up, based on our overall first half performance, and the fact that we didn't get a second goal came back to bite us in the second half. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Josh has really added to his game. I know there was a lot of criticism for him earlier in the season, but he's last few weeks added goals, assists, running into the box, getting penalties, just that driven across the goal, which could have easily hit a defender and got him as well. So he's definitely thriving the last few weeks. Interestingly, he was at Harrogate last season, wasn't he, on loan? Mm-hmm. He played against us for Harrogate, and in fact, I'd actually temporarily forgotten that, but we were in Harrogate's pub at the station before the game, and there were a couple of Harrogate fans we got chatting to, and then said, "Oh, how's Josh Coley doing?" And I said something like, "Well, a bit of a slow start to the season. He was a bit inconsistent, but he seems to be performing better under our new manager. He's become good last couple of months." No, absolutely. So half-time comes, everything's looking rosy, and keep it tight for the first 10 minutes of the second half, and we didn't. So, I mean, Steve, obviously the post-match interviews are quite raw and things could be said. He wasn't happy about it, obviously. He did mention Omar. Should have put it into the stands. Yeah. But I sort of watched it back, and he's like, well, there's 3 chances, including Omar's. There's 3 chances probably to stop that. Maybe 4 if you've been really harsh. 3 chances to stop that. It was just shockingly bad. So, Mark, give us were you even back
watching yet? Or were you queuing for food or anything?
No, I saw it. It was on the far side from me, but I thought, oh my God, Omar's lost the ball. Quite dangerous. I mean, I think he made an attempt to gain it back. He might have got a touch on it again, but then their guy regained possession, and the cross came in, and the guy had quite a lot of space to score. So it wasn't a great goal to concede. The defending could have been a lot better. Okay, I mean, I think Omar was mainly at fault for that, but you could argue that his defensive teammates didn't exactly shine in the moment after he lost possession.
Yeah, I think he did. I'm trying to remember it back now. We all know how I am with details, but I think he did get to the ball, but it hit the attacker's shins or something and went forward instead of out, and the attacker was off and over it. I mean, still a high hurdle to get over him. But Rory, how did you see that first few minutes where we were nice and keeping it tight?
Yeah, it felt really unlucky. It felt like we just switched off. Interestingly, Harrogate were out really fast second half, so they were all out ready to start. And there must have been waiting a good 5 minutes for us to come out. So I don't know if the match kind of torn into them at half time or something, and they were probably up for it second half, but they were out really early. But yeah, I was just finishing off my pie, which is always good at Harrogate, really good pie and match. I said, it felt like a real kick in the teeth. It felt like we'd worked really hard first half, got the goal, and all of that was kind of gone within a couple of minutes. It felt really dispiriting. And I'm not one to, like you, point fingers. I think it was just everyone switched off, really. I wouldn't particularly blame over.
But yeah, so we try to then sort of battle back and sort of get back into it, and it's always a kind of we've got to do it all again. As you said, we worked really hard. They then put on their subs and a name that I even recognised, so we got you must have scored against us for the very Scottish sounding Muldoon came on, and I mean, again, always dodgy to moan about referees, because I actually thought, hearing that the referee let a few things go that he could have pulled up. But Rory, what was your view on their second goal? Because it doesn't quite show it on the replay, it just shows the player on the floor. So did you actually see what happened for this foul or not?
Yeah, I think I did. Mark might correct me. I think it was Joe. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Joe. But it was never, from where and it was a little bit of a way away. It was never a free kick. Never in a million years did I think that was free. Yeah, the ref wasn't great, but then he did let quite a few go. Second half, I think Ollie pushed someone to the floor and did a kind of Superman style fall to the floor, and yeah, that was blatantly a free kick. And he let that one go. But yeah, I didn't think that was a free kick at all. And then it was quick free kick, and I think it was Jacko that was caught out for pace, and that was it. But yeah, it didn't look like a free kick at all from where I was standing.
All right, fair enough. Mark, what were your thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, the incident was some distance from where I was sitting, but I think most of the Sutton players and a lot of our fans didn't think it was a free kick, and were unhappy that it was given, B, that the ref allowed it to be taken really quickly before we had a chance to organise defensively, and the guy was away down the left. We hadn't got our shape back, and I've only watched it once. I couldn't face watching it again, but again, the cross came in from that wing at our left, and there was Muldoon in plenty of space to thump the ball past Steve Arnold. So that was 2-1 to them, and a real blow.
There was, I mean, always clutching at straws, me, but there was, if you do watch it back, Juki put in an absolute, he pelted back. Now, he wasn't covering the player in the middle, he was covering the player further out. But he literally, you could just see him absolutely putting it in to get back, and he was in our penalty area. I think possibly just at the same time as their other attacker, but obviously to no avail. But I mean, Dion then came on, and obviously I don't know. I know we signed him from Lewis, but I'm not sure where he was before. I think that's probably his first EFL goal, definitely for us. And he just carried on his great form from the other night where he scored the perfect hat trick. So Mark, what did you think of the goal and how were you feeling at that point? I think it was about 7-8 minutes left. I'm not sure.
I think it was timed around 87. I mean, it was great to get back into the game, although there wasn't much time left. And I think the Harrogate fans at that end seemed to think they'd won the game by then, as we hadn't been offering very much. And I think it is Dion's first league goal. I think it says that in the non-league paper. So that's 4 goals he scored in 2 games, albeit 3 of them in the Surrey Senior Cup. But it was a good goal. I mean, I think hitherto in the league games, he's perhaps lacked a bit of confidence, and he's perhaps not had a shot or taken somebody on when he perhaps could have done. He's just gone for the easy pass to a teammate nearby, and he's done that sufficiently well. But he's not really gambled, not really taken risks. And I think this time he thought, I'm going to go for it. He went for it. He outmuscled their defender, and it was a good finish through the keeper's legs. And I was really pleased for him. You could see how much it meant to him. I think the footage captures that. He was delighted to score that goal, obviously for personal reasons, but also because it got us back into the game. And obviously there was a few minutes left of the 90, and then it turned out to be 5 added minutes. So we still had 7 or 8 minutes left at that point to get a winner, which we didn't.
Yeah, and
we'll come on to that.
He's ours as well, so it's always nice that the players that are ours are developing as well. Rory, what were your thoughts on the goal and the chance it gave us?
Oh, yeah. I think it looked like a great finish, as Mark said. I think it was a lovely ball. Was it Ollie, I think, that kind of threaded it through? First, we thought it had gone to the defender. You couldn't quite see, as you say, Mark, with the slope down the other end. But yeah, it came with a really nice surprise. And I think it shows a bit of resilience. We're right down there at the bottom of the table with 2-1 down away from home with a few minutes left, and we're still going, we're still fighting. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. I'm pleased for Dion to score. My son kept saying, he wants to see more of more.
One more from more.
One more from more. But yeah, it was a great finish.
Yeah, no, and I mean, as you said, it was a few minutes to go then, but both teams still could have won it, lost it. Harry had, I think, 1 or 2 chances. One was significantly better than the other, but still was quite difficult. But how did you see those final few minutes, Rory? Did you think we were getting back into it, or were you willing to gamble the loss for the win?
Yeah, I would have probably gambled it. I just thought that, I know it's hard to see, and I haven't properly, just like Mark, I couldn't properly watch the highlights. It was too heartbreaking. But it looked like that chance for Harry on his left foot into the area, or just inside the area. From where we were standing, kind of looking like, it looked like if he kept it down, if he'd kind of slotted it a bit more rather than try and hammer it, you could just see that nestling in the kind of the side. But that was painful. But yeah, we did have a couple of really good chances. But then they did as well, I suppose. So maybe, all in all, it was probably a fair result, I think, unfortunately. Although, just as Mark said, I think if there was another chance just before half-time after we scored, we'd have put that one away. I think it was Sam Hart from the left, crossed it in. We'd have put that one away. It's 2-0 at half-time. It's a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark, how did you see the last few minutes and the chances for both teams?
Yeah, I think Harrogate had the better of the second half, but we had the better of the added time. We gave it a real go in those last 5-6 minutes, though it was end-to-end stuff for a little while, and I think Steve Arnold had to make one pretty good save towards the end there. But we had, as Rory said, 2 or 3 chances. I mean, the one I remember was probably the one you were talking about when Harry Smith was through, and he was a bit of an angle, but he only had the keeper to beat. But he had quite a lot of time to bring the ball down under control and line up his shot. And sometimes if a striker's in that situation, he overthinks it. And obviously he might have realised in that moment, this is a really important opportunity. This goal could save our season. And maybe that moment got to him. The enormity of the moment was too much. And rather than shooting instinctively, as he might have done if he had less time, he perhaps thought about it a bit too much and screwed the shot up. And, we know that happens to strikers sometimes. You give them too much time to think about it, and they waste the chance.
Yeah. Mentioned Steve Arnold. Not a lot he could do with either of the goals, but some of the moments from what I saw and heard was he was quite erratic at times. Some of his kicking was going out, probably not as solid as he has been. So, it didn't cost us a goal, but so get all those mistakes out of the way. But how did he seem to you, Mark?
I did say there was a touch of Dean bizarreness about some of his kicking in that game. And it didn't happen very often, but there were 2 or 3 wayward kicks from Steve. It might have been down to the wind. We've had a succession of wind-affected matches this season, both home and away, and there was quite a gusty wind up at Harrogate. And I don't think our players have always adapted to the conditions as well as the opposition. And I think that's possibly the case to some extent yesterday.
Which is insane, because we were told when we were at the Harlington ground that it's always windy there. So you'd think you'd be used to it then, boys, wouldn't you? But Rory, what did you think? I know you haven't seen him in person as much this season, but what did you think of Steve? He's been playing so well. He's playing League Two football for a start, so there's going to be a dipping fall. But he was playing so well, and it was. How did you see it yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he was. Apart from the kicking was a bit dodgy second half. But he made one amazing save. I can't remember. I think someone was through on goal, but he kind of stood up really well to save that, because that could easily have been a goal. So I thought he played all right, actually. I remember seeing him when we played Grimsby and thought he was solid. But the kicking was the issue. I think, like you say, he's proved that he's a really good shot stopper. It's just that kicking and distribution, I suppose. But I wouldn't blame him for any of the goals. Couldn't do anything about either of them yesterday.
No, exactly. He can blame the defence, not the goals. But as was pointed out, and as we said, a draw didn't really benefit either side. Tony mentioned in both interviews, it's really odd to see every player on the pitch after the game dropping to their feet, and then he's going, "Oh, that's no good." What are your kind of reflections, Rory, on sort of post-match? Where does it leave us? Is it a bit too? Was the fight back a bit too late?
I think immediately after, your kind of first reaction was we've dropped 2 points that we should pretty easily have got. That was the initial reaction. But looking back at it, I think the fact that we salvaged a point in the end might mean that that could be the point that says very optimistically that could be the point that keeps us up. But I think being realistic, I think we've left it too late. There's still fight there, though. I think you could say just by the reactions, Mike, at the end, like you say, and when the second goal went in, Steve Arnold beating the ground and looking so despondent, and you think there's still fight there. So I think we can win the next 2 games, but it's just so out of our hands now. I think that's the problem. If Colchester hadn't won yesterday, it's a different story, isn't it? But,
absolutely.
Their results, they draw, we draw, then you're still in the same situation. Then you hope Grimsby batter them on Tuesday, and it's a different game. But the fact they won and the confidence they'll get from that, from winning away from home, I think, realistically, I think that might be it.
So I've done some numbers. Grimsby are now 6 points and a 10-goal swing away from us. So we need them to lose all the games and us win all our games by 2 goals for us to make any inroads there. And Colchester are a point and 6 goals, and 2 wins, no matter what we do, would see them safe. I think, Mark, you might have pointed out on the forum, I think it was you, that by the time they play, is it Crewe?
They got Crewe. Colchester got Crewe on the last day.
On the last day, yeah. So that's probably a win. Although, Mark, in theory, we could get a draw against Crawley, and Colchester could lose every single game and lose a hefty goal difference, because it's only 6. I know it sounds a lot, but if they lose it all by 1 or 2 goals, we could get out of it. But how do you see it going, Mark? Where do you see it leaves us, and what's your reflections on it?
Well, I think 2 things have become clearer. Grimsby are almost certainly safe. They just need 1 point. Forest Green are almost certainly going to go down. is between us and Colchester for the other relegation slot. And Colchester, as you say, are in the stronger position. They've got the extra 2 games. They've got a point advantage as well as a better goal difference. So I think we probably need, if you're going to stay up, need to win our final 2 games. Just hope that Colchester get no more than 4 points from their remaining games. Things will be a little clearer after Colchester and Grimsby have played each other at Colchester on Tuesday evening. Obviously, the best result for us will be a Grimsby win. A draw will be the second best result, and a Colchester win will be the worst result from our perspective.
I mean, a hefty Grimsby win would be nice.
Yes.
By 6 goals.
I'd settle for 0-1, actually.
Yeah. I mean, negatively, by full time next Saturday, we could be done. If Colchester win and we don't get a result, then it could be, doesn't matter, that's it. I mean, that would put a real damper on any evening at all, wouldn't it?
Be more like a wake, I think, than a season party.
But I mean, going around trying to see what people are saying, there's still that same split that it's too late, it's done, and then there's still the optimism that it's still gonna. I mean, the word mathematically is being used quite a lot, and you always have to worry then when people go, mathematically we could do it. I mean, there is one thing that I don't know who this is, but Boom Boom on the forum has actually said that one bright point of the season is our attendances haven't actually dropped off, even though we've been struggling all season. We're 42 lower than last season, and you would expect the Crawley match to be a fairly bumper one because it's the first Saturday that we played at our place. So you'd expect it to be fairly bumper. So if we got about 4,200, which might be dreamland, but if we got 4,200, it would actually be the highest attendance over the 3 seasons, which must be positive. I mean, that is really clutching at straws, isn't it, Rory? I mean, that's really like, oh, please, there's something. But that must be positive. That hopefully some of them would stay in if the expected now happens.
Exactly.
I'm clutching. Yeah.
I think you're right, though. That's got to be a positive, hasn't it? Because you would expect that, given we didn't win a game for ages, you'd think people wouldn't show up, but it hasn't really. It seems to have impacted like that. And the fact there was nearly 200 fans at Harrogate yesterday.
193, I think that was. Which, again, is great. I know you always see these little things of, look at the few Sutton fans at this ground. It's like, but there used to be like 30, 40 people going to these trips. So you've got to look at what we had before. But on to Crawley, they are, I mean, they were, I didn't check their final results when I did my little piece yesterday. I didn't realise Wimbledon had managed to go into the last playoff spot. I thought Crawley was still in it. But they've got a chance of getting into the playoffs. But Mark, where do you... He's just checking that now, aren't you?
Yeah, they are. Crawley are still 7th. I thought they were. Wimbledon lost. Yeah, they lost to a late goal at Swindon.
I looked at Google this morning. Excellent. Right. So Crawley are still in the playoffs, which means they do need something.
They're playing Tuesday, actually. Crawley have got a home game against Barrow on Tuesday. Barrow are not in great form at the moment, although it has to be said Crawley's home form is not very good. It's their away form, unfortunately for us, that's been keeping them buoyant lately. They did get thumped at Wrexham 4-1, but they lost at home to Colchester yesterday. Well, they had good away wins, I think Newport and Mansfield recently at 4-0 and 4-1. But if they win on Tuesday, that will give them a bit of a cushion. So maybe clutching at straws here. Then the game at our place might not be quite as important to them as if they were going in straight after the defeat yesterday. Both teams will obviously want to win that for different reasons. But I can see it being a quite tense game. Neither side will want to concede early, but then again, you might find there's a bit of nervousness creeping into some of the defending. So it's not going to be an easy watch, I suspect.
Never is. But I mean, Rory, how do you see it going? I mean, I'd be surprised if we don't end up calling this episode "Clutching at Straws." Because we've all said it.
Yeah.
But how do you see it going on Saturday, and how do we beat Crawley?
Yeah, good question. Well, I'm a Grimsby fan for the week, and then I'll go back to being a Sutton fan on Saturday. Yeah, I think we just got to go for it, haven't we? We've got to play. I don't know. You got to play 2 or maybe even 3 up front. You go all out. I think you stick Dion Moore up there with Harry, and you put Ollie just behind or something. I think you got to proper go for it and hope that you get an early goal, and that will then kind of quieten things down, relieve the tension a bit, and then things might be a bit easier. But I think you're right. I think it'll be a bit of a cagey affair against Crawley on Saturday. I think it's
we don't want to draw. That's what we don't want.
Exactly. In a way, we were saying this
Result that helps neither team. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you want it to either be done by then, or for us, you don't want it just to drag on with no chance. It's just and the whole mathematically thing.
Exactly. Well, all we need to do is win 7-0 on the last game, and
exactly.
Has been done.
It has been done, exactly. Yeah, it absolutely has. Don't want to talk about him though; it's getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll do the predictions. I know you don't particularly like the predictions, Mark, but I do. So, just prediction league. There's only 2 people that can win it: Paul Darby or Andy. And Paul is 6 points ahead with 12 to play for. So Andy's got a lot to do with these last 2 games. There's things on the screen, a little code if you want to join in. It really is just putting your name down for next year now. But I'm going to go with my normal 2-0 because it served me well for the previous 52 games and not got any of them right. Mark, what's your thoughts?
Well, in a rare outburst of optimism, I'm going to predict 2-1 to Sutton, which is something I rarely do.
Perfect.
But I think almost any result is possible in that game. And I wouldn't be surprised if we lose it, to be honest.
Cool. And Rory, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic as well, even though I was mid-table in the league. I'd probably go. I might go more 3-2 actually.
3-2.
Yeah.
Rory, you're the only other person in the top 20 that is like me and has none of them correct. You've got results correct, but you've not got the scoreline correct. So you're the only other person like me. It's like, yay, I've got a friend.
Oh, don't listen to me then, Mike.
Don't put any money on what me and Rory says because you'll lose it. But yeah, so good luck to the guys. The trip to Harlington was actually really, really good. There's lots of interesting stuff, and I'm hopefully going to get Steve Salis on at some point to just talk about different things. Very, very interesting, and there'll be lots of insight that he can sort of chuck our way a little bit. And Steve offered to do a season review and a season preview, but I was like, no, it's all right, we'll just do one. I don't want to push my luck a little bit, so I'll get him on at the start of next season rather than the end of this season.
Okay.
But we're going to wrap up this episode. As always, we appreciate the attention. I still don't have the new mug, but I've got Jane's new mug, so thank you, Jane, again. Follow, like, share at Sutton Podcast on social medias, and don't forget to subscribe and just let everyone know. And I also got my new phone as well, so the phone's not broken anymore. So, I'm living a dream. Until next time, as always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Thank you to our guests today, Mark and Rory. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. We will be back on Sunday with Paul Chalmers and a late season debut to Alex Moore, who is going to be coming on for the first time. So get any questions sent in. Take care, and we will catch up soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. United! 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 United!